Hello everybody and welcome to the Tiny Time Big Results podcast with me, Yasmin. This week it's a slightly different podcast because I have a guest with me, and today we are talking with Nina Cooke. And Nina helps business owners who are stuck to get unstuck, and so that they can create the success that they want in business and in life. Big welcome to you, Nina.
Hi Yasmin, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm really excited and really looking forward to this conversation, because I know personally that I found myself getting stuck, and then, sometimes you just think, oh, I don't know what to do. And I know that this will definitely resonate with a lot of, the Tiny Time audience, and probably with most business owners, I would imagine. So tell me a little bit, maybe in a few sentences, Nina, what kind of work is it that you do or that you love to do?
Well, I love to work with business owners who are working hard on their businesses. They came into business to get the freedom away from the corporate world. So they came with all these ideas of how wonderful it's going to be, how they would have the financial freedom to do things they want with their family, with their friends, do some more hobbies, etc. And also have the time freedom as well, which will enable them to be able to step away from their business to do all these things. And a lot of us find that when we start business, we work very hard in the first few years to get the business going. And then we find that we stay in that same pattern of working hard, and the business isn't growing as well as we want it to grow for whatever reason. And many business owners, they try lots of things. They try, lots of wonderful marketing strategies. They may have a business mentor. They may go to lots of, conferences and, look online for lots of help around their business. So they do lots of external wonderful things for their business to grow. But some of them find that this isn't working for them. And then after a while, what I'm finding is that many of them are beginning to suspect they may not be anything that's happening on the outside that's stopping their business from growing. It may actually be something inside of them. So I work with them to identify exactly what these internal blocks are, because it's very hard sometimes to put your finger on it yourself. And once they can identify exactly what those blocks are, then I help them to challenge and clear those blocks so they can have the business that they first went into business for, one that makes them really happy.
And and I think it's a really important point as well, Nina, and I think a lot of people will be able to relate to this, is that when you try a lot of the external strategies and the ideas, and you chase after the newest shiny object, and it doesn't work for you, that you start questioning, am I cut out for this? Is this right for me? And actually, it's nothing to do with strategies. The strategy is fine. It's what's going on internally. And until you make that connection, you could spend 5, 10, 15 years doing all the marketing strategy and then getting annoyed because you see other people doing really, really well. And you're thinking, but I'm just as good as they are. I don't get it.
Yes. And often you can be doing the same things for your business. And, we know the comparison game can be a very dangerous thing when you start comparing yourself to someone else, because the situation can be different, although it can look the same on the outside. But this is interesting because I've recently worked with a client who said that she and her friend, they started their businesses at the same time. She's an American client. They probably 3 or 4 years ago. And she said that her friend's turnover is over $1 million a year. And her turnover is a fraction of that. A small fraction is around 150,000 a year. And she said, it doesn't seem fair because we started at the same point. We used to go to the same trainings and all of that. And yet she's pulled ahead of me. And then when we spoke about it, she started to realize actually it's not the external stuff that was making a difference here. Her friend didn't have the resistance and the blocks that she had herself that was stopping her from growing her business. And when she thought that, it was almost like a sense of relief. Because she was like banging her head against a brick wall, trying all these things, and nothing was happening for her.
Yeah. And I can completely relate to that as well, because I know that in my business, comparison, I almost feel like I'm a glutton for punishment. I'm looking for people to compare myself to. And then, as it is, when you look for something, you get the evidence, you find it, and then you think there must be something really wrong with me. And like that, I'm doing the same things as they are, so why am I not getting the same results? And I'm a big fan of Abraham Hicks, and when, Wayne Dyer and Gabrielle Bernstein, and when they're always talking about how good do you feel? And you think, I feel pretty crap, I don't feel good at all. And actually it isn't. And I think that was a big realization for me in my business, it was actually what was going on internally. It wasn't the strategies. And I think that's probably partly the reason why, there seems to be this turning away from this idea that there's a 5-step process or a system that you just follow, because that's kind of what paint by numbers kind of a thing. Whereas actually that will work, but you've got to get the internal stuff sorted first.
Absolutely. And it is a mindset game. It can be as much as 90% of it's mindset and 10% of it is the rest of the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a very, very powerful idea. And just to be aware that it can be something that's inside of you that's causing you to feel frustrated, not necessarily the stuff on the outside. It's very interesting if I could just pick up on what you said about we're looking for evidence. Always looking for evidence that supports our beliefs.
Yes.
So you may find lots of instances of, people who are exactly in the position that we talked about, but there's also lots of evidence to show actually that there is an easy way of doing it, because when we have a lot of internal resistance to doing an activity, you coach business owners to do things, you may come across business owners who just feel resistant to doing something that you think may be really good for their business because they have an internal block about doing it. It could be a worry about being more visible. It may be a worry that they feel like a fraud, that they'll get found out, they'll be judged, criticized if they put their head above the parapet. Whereas you may have other clients who just think, yeah, I'm going to do that. I'll do that strategy, no problem. I'll make these videos, I'll do this, that, and the other, because they don't have that fear. So it's always an inside job, which is, blocking us. But that's really good news, because it means that we can do something, we can take care of that within ourselves. Yeah. And then often, I don't know about your clients, but my clients start finding that the marketing strategies that they're using, the investments they're making in their business, start working much better for them. Yeah. Because they're much calmer, they're more focused, they're much clearer about what they want to do, and they can see how it's going to help their business. And actually there's nothing to be fearful about. Yeah. It can be a really liberating thing to do something completely new in your business.
And I think you're absolutely right in that as soon as you realize that the power is within you, it's something that you can do something about. Like, I remember having this conversation about, trusting the universe and letting go. And there was a part of me, I'm a control freak. So I was like, but hold on a minute. And I remember reading this great article, and it was like, but the universe is within you. So it's not about just abdicating responsibility, but immediately I felt the sense of relief that actually it is within me. I can still show up and do the things that I want to do, that I love to do. And then the universe will also work with me. And I don't know whether you believe in, like, I suppose, like there's, I suppose, that woo-woo kind of tag, where people talk about the universe and the divine. And I believe that, I feel very strongly divinely led. But I think that I think that for me has been my internal journey of really understanding my power. And I think the problem is with the blocks is that you let those blocks take over your power, your self-confidence gets eroded. And then you just think, what am I doing? I should just go and find a job.
Yeah, it's never going to work for me. Doesn't matter what I do, I'm still not going to be able to, make the money I want to do. And it's almost like we have an invisible glass income ceiling above our heads, and we don't even know it's there. It is such an internal, deeply embedded internal set point we have about our income, what we're capable of, what our limits are. As you said, we're not conscious of it, but it's such a powerful thing because it drives our thoughts, our feelings, our behavior, our activities, the actions we take in our business, the actions we don't take in our business, which obviously leads to the results that we get. Yeah. So it can be that you can see someone whose business just takes off like that. I can guarantee those people don't have any internal blocks about what is possible for them. Yes. They just think, I'm just going to do it and see how it goes. Whereas other people can be working 12, 14-hour days and working really hard, investing, adding a new team member, attending a wonderful marketing strategy meeting, and, going to networking, all those things. They think, why isn't it working for me? What is it that I keep feeling stuck about? Why can't I move forward? But I will guarantee your listeners that it will be something within them that's stopping them from advancing their business and having the business that really, gives them the freedom to do what they want, to express themselves, to serve as many people as possible at the highest level, which is why I think many of us are in business for what we call as heart-centered business owners who really want to be of help. Yes. To just serve as many people.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things that we talked about previously, Nina, was this one block that I think is really insidious, that's something that a lot of people struggle with, and it's this idea that you have to work really hard to be successful. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes. So I think it can be often some sort of family programming, because often we're brought up and our parents may be very hardworking. My parents came over from India. They came with very little money. They worked very, very hard. They worked in factories. And so they always, felt that you have to work hard for not very much money. And so I grew up thinking you have to work hard to earn money. And many of us, I think, have that programming deep within us. That's the only way to achieve success. And so we filter for business owners, and we only see business owners who are working hard. However, there are many business owners out there, and I know because I've come across many of them. I've interviewed them because I wanted to find out more about this. And they said that actually you can work very smartly. You can work in a very, very focused way. And it means that you can just... It means that you can just carry on. Do you want to?
No, go ahead. It's fine.
You can just, you can start filtering for people who work very hard and very smartly. So recently, I came across this wonderful business owner who's got a very successful business. She's got 2 young children. And she said, when I started my business, I set a commitment to myself that I was only going to work set number of hours around my businesses, my children's nursery and work out and school hours. And that's all she did. So she set up a business around that, and she's got part-time VA, and the rest of the time she just focuses very, very clearly on the tasks that are going to bring her business, take her business forward. And she doesn't concentrate on any of the other fluff, which we spent hours and hours doing. So actually time, you are the master of time. Time is not your master. And it's just changing the way you think about time and making it work for you.
Yeah, and absolutely, and that's where Tiny Time Big Results obviously was born as well, from, knowing that I have very young children. Like my son is 5, my daughter is 3, nearly 3, and I'm about to have another one. And so you're sitting there thinking, okay, I got to make this work. And I think that's the beauty of it, is where you redefine what success looks like for you and how much time you do. And I think for me, the push has been very much around having a simple business model and a profitable business model. So like you say, you cut away all the other fluff. Interestingly, though, I don't think we talked about this before, Nina, that I didn't realize that your parents were from India, because my parents are from India as well. Whereabouts in India?
They were originally in Karachi and Lahore when it was all India. Then after the partition, they moved to Delhi. And then they came over in the early 60s. Where are your parents from?
Gujarat, the state of Gujarat. Yeah, and like that, with partition, some of the family were in Lahore, and so that's really interesting. That's so fascinating. But it's interesting.
The family programming. What's the family programming about working and hard work in your family?
Yeah, I was going to say it's exactly the same. When we were growing up, my brother and my sister, we were always told, get a good job, and you'll get a good pension, and you got to work hard, and and I think that has really been. I think for me, it's interesting because when I look at when times have been really good in my business and I feel like I haven't worked hard enough for that, there's been that sense of guilt, like, oh, it shouldn't be this easy. And I think that's when the self-sabotage kicks in then, because you think, no, that was a fluke. That was just worked randomly, whereas actually I need to work harder. And I think that's something that a lot of people feel like, if things aren't going well, then if I just work longer and harder, then things will turn around. And I suppose, when you have circumstances like myself, like, I work when my kids are in creche and school, that if I don't get it done in that time, I'm really screwed, because I'm like thinking, I want to be able to make sure that I can focus on my children when they come home. And I don't want to be that person who says, hold on a minute, go and watch TV. Oh, that happens, and I hold my hand up to it, and, it happens to the best of us, and it happens to all of us, but it's not how you want to live. And I think, so what would be, say, your top, strategies or techniques to help people get past that block, kind of giving our the people who are listening today and watching today thinking, okay, how can I get past this block?
Well, I found it very interesting when I started off working with business owners, because I would say that my belief at that point was you have to work long, hard hours to get a successful business. And as I started talking to more and more of them, I started coming across business owners who ran very profitable, very successful businesses that really served them, but working defined limited hours. And they were not going to negotiate on that in any way or form for anything. And so I started finding evidence of business owners who were able to work like that and still have time and the time and money freedom to do what they wanted outside of their work. So I would say to your listeners, start looking for evidence. Start filtering for business owners who have those businesses that really serve them, but they don't have to work long hours to do that. So read books, watch podcasts, Google business owners who work within a very defined set of hours week by week. And sure, they may work long hours at the beginning to set up their business, but they don't have to do that anymore. So there can be this cultural belief that you have to work long, hard hours, but actually it's not true, because there are many business owners who are really making time work for them. Yeah. Look for evidence of that, and then your subconscious will start saying, if it's possible for them, then actually it may be possible for me. There may be another way of doing it, which I haven't spotted yet.
So look for the evidence. Look for the evidence to the contrary. Ask yourself, is it true? Do I have to work longer and harder?
Absolutely. And the other thing, which you're the expert at, is just ask yourself, what fluff am I spending my time doing that I don't actually need to do? I've got a client, and she said that every activity she does in her marketing has to grow her list. She will not look at any activity that doesn't add numbers to her list, because she knows her list is her most precious asset. So she asks herself that question before she does any other activity: will this help to grow my list? And I think that's a wonderful way of being really focused and only doing those tasks which are going to take your business forward. We have a choice. We always have a choice at any moment about how we're going to spend our time, what tasks we're going to start, what we're going to finish. So don't feel that, we're helpless and a victim and overwhelmed by situations and circumstances. It's never the long to-do list that's causing you to feel overwhelmed. It's always what's going on inside your head, is how you're thinking about that long to-do list that's causing you to feel overwhelmed. Always an inside job, never an outside job.
Yeah. One of the things that I think has really helped me is when I sit down, and if I'm not feeling excited or enthusiastic or just looking forward to the task at hand, in business, after a while, you get to that point, you're just like, because you're not always jumping out of bed and going, I can't wait to get working. And so what I found was I was getting out of alignment. I was getting out of, what is it that I really want to do? How is it that I really want to show up? And so one of the things that I do is I kind of made a list for myself, like saying, what are the 3 things that you must do every day to feel really good? And those are the 3 things where I must coach, I must speak, I must write. So that would get me into, it's really kind of getting you into the energy of the work that you're meant to do. Because I think a lot of the tasks that you can get caught up in is just having a big to-do list, like you say, and that doesn't serve us. Whereas if I actually take the time out, so if I'm writing my book at the moment, and for me, I schedule, like, say, 2 20-minute slots to write. And I'm amazed about how much I actually get done in that, in those 2 20-minute slots. And then I might do something like this. So this is me speaking, and then coaching. So I might, answer questions on Facebook group or talk to my clients. And those are all things that really get me excited, because the more excited I get about my work, the more I'm in alignment, and the more evidence then that is stacking up for me to say, well, actually, you can just love what you're doing and you don't have to work long and hard. And I think things like that, when you really look for what is it that I can do that's going to make me feel really good, and like going back to this Gabby Bernstein article, and obviously she teaches a course in miracles, and they're always saying, it's about the feeling first. It's about the feeling first. And then what you want, does come, but that comes second. It's got to be about the feeling first.
Yes, I completely agree with that. And the best way to know the quality of your thinking is how you're feeling right now in this moment. If you're feeling good, the quality of your thoughts are good. And if you're not feeling good, then the quality isn't good. And you can do something about that. It doesn't matter what task you've got sitting in front of you. You can make yourself feel okay about doing it just by thinking. It's not the task that's making me think like this. It's my thinking about the task that's making me feel like this. You get control 100% of the time.
It's like when you put an offer out or a free gift or something like that, and then you're constantly checking to see your stats. And you're like sitting there thinking, hold on a minute, this isn't why I'm doing it. I'm doing it because I'm putting something really valuable out there. And I think that as soon as you find yourself getting caught into that trap of, I suppose it's being attached to the outcome, like, oh, I want 100 people to sign up for my new gift. And if you've only got 20, you start to beat yourself up about it. And I think that's when business does become a real drain. And then you lose the meaning and you lose that sense of enjoyment and the fulfillment that you really want from your business. One of my favorite ways of clearing that energy is dancing. Just throwing on a YouTube video, and I was doing this the other day, and my kids are at home with me. Obviously, it's the school holidays, and he came in and he just saw me dancing around the room, and he just came in and he just started giving it loads, but it felt great.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I was only going to do one song, and he was there going, oh, put this on, put this on, put this on. But I think whatever we do, and I think for me, especially with the Tiny Time methodology, is really about how to get into that zone really quickly. So these blocks, I think probably, would you agree with this, Nina, that the biggest thing is being aware of the blocks? Because if you're not even aware of it, yes, you don't know how to deal with it.
Yes. And you can be tearing your hair out just thinking, what do I have to do to get this business going? What do I need to do? What do I have to do next? But actually, just being aware that it's just your thinking that's making you feel like this. Is you're thinking about your business, because there'll be many other people who have a very similar business to you who are really happy with it and they're really enjoying it. So it can't be the business itself that's making you feel like this. It's just your thinking about it. What's the quality of your thinking? And as you said, just take time out, dance around the bedroom or whatever. I go take my dog for a walk. It clears my head completely. I love it. Come rain or shine, we're out there walking every day. And whatever, it's working. It's not sitting at your changing your desk for 12 hours a day thinking, I can't do anything else. I can't have any fun. I can't enjoy myself. It's the quality of your thinking and the feelings it generates. It's all about that. It's nothing else, actually. If you're feeling good, you're going to be enjoying what you're doing. And that's what we went into business for, isn't it? That's why we left the corporate world.
Yeah, absolutely.
Enjoyment. We could do this for ourselves. We could serve people in the way that we want to. And it's a shame if the amount of time we're spending around the business, it feels like a chain around our necks. That's not what we want.
No, not at all.
It's just your internal blocks that are causing you to feel like this. And they're very hard to find yourself, very hard to put your finger on why you're like this. But, just as you said, the awareness of knowing this is what the problem is, you can do something about it.
Absolutely.
You can't change the world, but you can change your thinking.
Yes. And I'm a big believer in throwing everything at it. Is, so I would do things like dancing, kind of going for walks, clearing the energy. I love emotional freedom techniques, so doing tapping. And for me, I'm just kind of constantly looking and seeing what else is out there in order to help me to clear these blocks. Because like that, I think when things are stuck in your energy system and you're not even aware of it, it's just creating that same pattern over and over again. And that's why you're getting the same results over and over again. So if, say, for example, people want to know more about the work that you do and how you could help them, how would they find out more about you, Nina?
I can I just answer one? Can I just pick up on one little thing that you said? You said, you're looking for stuff that's out there to help. What if it's always within us? The answers, the wisdom, everything is within us. And I really believe that once we can just get some clarity of thinking, where we can just stop that mind chatting, that's when we really listen and hear our voice of wisdom, which is always there for us 24/7. We sometimes don't hear it because the chatter in our mind is so loud. It's just there. It's all within us. And once we just trust that and listen to it, that brings us all the peace, all the calmness, all the happiness, all the joy in our lives, no matter what's going on out there. You could be earning £1 million, you could still be really unhappy. You could be earning 20 grand a year and be really happy with it. Not the number. It's never the number. It's always the quality of our thoughts. If anyone wants to find out more about what I do or how they could work with me, I like to do it really simply. So I'd like to invite anyone who might be interested in finding out more just to have a 60-minute chat with me. It's a business breakthrough session. It's completely free, no obligation, no pressure at all, just so they can find out what their patterns are, what's causing their patterns, what their block is, and then the awareness will help them just automatically to move their business forward.
Brilliant. And do you have an email address, or I'll post the links as well, but just to make sure that we've got those?
Okay, well, the best email address for me is Nina, Nina, at ninacooke.co.uk, or they can come onto my website. It's ninacooke.co.uk, and just sign up for a free 60-minute call with me.
And remind me, is there an E on the end of Cooke?
Yes, it's Nina, Nina.Cooke, COOKE.co.uk. And they can just come in, sign up for a free call, and we'll just have a chat, and they'll find what their biggest block is around their business growth.
Brilliant. Nina, it's been such a pleasure talking to you today. Thank you so much for your time. I hope you've enjoyed it too.
I've had an absolute ball. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Okay, guys, that's it for this week. Thanks so much for joining me for the Tiny Time Big Results podcast. And join me next week, and be sure to subscribe to the podcast. Leave a review if you've enjoyed the podcast so far. And if you have any questions or any thoughts about what we've talked about, then do pop over to the Tiny Time Big Results Facebook page, or feel free to join my free Facebook group, the Tiny Time Tribe. And you can find us on Facebook as well. And I look forward to seeing you next time. All right, take care. Have a good day.